Unified Media, Dropping Gems Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7 revolves around the current state of hip hop, Diddy's allegations, top 3 MCs, other ways to sustain music, and so much more. Like and share this video to those who will find this information useful. Tune into the show once a week, every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube, where we have raw, uncut, open discussions that can range with insightful and educational information across the board. Other episodes will include past and current events, trending topics, conspiracies, personal journey, and more. We also invite special guests to shed light on who they are and what professional industry they are in. If you would like to be a guest on the show, email droppinggemspodcasting@gmail.com with your name, business, industry, social media info, and brief bio. Hosted by yours truly, JR The Truth and Aki ONTL The One. Support the show by subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. I'm gonna open up. Aki, do you wanna talk about what you just sent me behind the scenes, or do you want to open up with this quick Diddy allegation video? How you feeling?
Hey, nah, I sent you that one just on GP.
Oh,
just something to have this, for us to discuss and talk about. We'll talk about it a little later on here. Okay, we'll talk about it a little later on here. Let's get into this Diddy, because I'm tired of hearing Diddy, and I finally want to talk about it and be done with it.
Definitely. This is the Downfall of Diddy documentary. Just a quick. I'll give you guys a couple minutes just to get up to speed for the ones who don't know. But everybody should know.
5 Rose, welcome in.
Diddy is in the crosshairs of the feds, and they mean business.
You would have thought they were taking down a violent gang leader, not somebody who makes music and has charmed America for decades.
Diddy is under criminal investigation after multiple lawsuits accused him of horrific crimes.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, accused of sex trafficking and sexual assault.
Now, people who lived in Diddy's world are talking to TMZ, and what they say is revealing and disturbing.
I knew all of that was going on. I've known the whole time.
I've seen Puff have anger spazzes on producers, females.
I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
Diddy's alleged bad behavior went unchecked for years.
There have always been whispers and rumblings about Diddy.
His famous friends are heading for the hills.
They have 250 cameras they took out his house. A lot of people might be running from that tape.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
People may fear that somehow he makes it out of this.
What did they fear?
A flat tire, being murdered. I don't know.
But Suge Knight, Diddy's archenemy, shockingly is sad over Diddy's undoing.
I'm not the type of guy to cheer for people's downfall. And if somebody gets killed or something happens, I'm not going to pop champagne bottles.
I done seen this dude shake back from some stuff, right? So I'm not going to count him out.
TMZ presents The Downfall of Diddy.
I had just gotten out of the shower and walked inside of the studio, and it was such a nice day. I'm like, let me go sit outside on the bench for a little while. Heard a big boom, and then I heard like like the sounds of like armored vehicles approaching.
Simultaneous raids on March 25th 2024. A massive show of force. Dozens of Homeland Security officers rolled up in armored vehicles at Sean Diddy Combs' mansions in Miami and LA. Diddy's close friend and producer, Stevie J, was at the Miami property when things got real.
Guys jumped out, you know what I'm saying? Guns up and aimed. Get up, get on the fucking ground. Drop your fucking phone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm here by myself. You know, I didn't ask too many questions. I've seen quite a lot of things, but none with the excessive force of this right here.
You would have thought they were taking down a violent gang leader, not somebody who makes music and appears in movies and has charmed America for decades.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
You can see a crowbar to get through this gate initially as well, the long guns and a multitude of people. As you'll see, they'll zoom out a little bit just to see the amount of force they are using.
You know him as Diddy, formerly Puff Daddy, big-time rapper, big-time producer, big-time superstar, and now the feds at his houses in both locations.
Federal officers spent hours removing firearms, computers, boxes, and bags of items. Both properties left in shambles.
They didn't do this to Harvey Weinstein, right? They didn't do this like this to Epstein, right?
Diddy's lawyer called the raids a gross overuse of military-level force and a witch hunt. He said Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name.
I don't know what they're looking for or where they're trying to reach.
In LA, 2 of Diddy's sons, Justin and King, were briefly detained, then released.
A week later, Justin's mom, Misa Hilton, posted this shocking video on social media. Security footage from inside the house. Officers with guns drawn and pointed toward Justin and his brother King. Misa called it overzealous and deplorable.
It's hard for me to imagine that had this been many other celebrities, particularly white celebrities, that their children would have been in handcuffs and they would have been forced to stare down the barrel of guns and seen armored tanks. It just seemed like a lot for a raid of a music producer.
You have to remember that Diddy has been in trouble on some weapons violations in the past. He has security. These are vast compounds with multiple people at them. And so using this type of force was not inappropriate in any way, shape, or form.
A federal judge had determined there was evidence, significant evidence. Diddy was involved in sex trafficking, sexual assault, and soliciting and distributing illegal narcotics and firearms. And that's why the search warrants were signed.
This is a massive investigation. The idea that the feds have taken up this investigation in the first place indicates that it's remarkably serious.
Aubrey O'Day, a member of Danity Kane and star of Making the Band, has been the lone voice for years, saying Diddy is a bad guy. She has not spoken publicly since the new allegations surfaced until now.
If these allegations are true, why did it take so long for others to speak out? Because you really were a lone voice.
Real lone voice. I was literally text messaging producers, employers, from top to bottom levels. Like, y'all know what the fuck you saw. People were scared. If you know enough, you likely would be reasonable in being scared.
What did they fear?
Anything you possibly could, Harvey. A flat tire, being murdered, I don't know. There's a lot of things people fear.
People don't like to go after a powerful person unless they're sure they will be victorious.
The downfall of Diddy.
Bro, it sounds too crazy, bro. I mean,
have you had a chance to watch that documentary yet?
I have not, no.
It's on I think it's on Amazon or no, excuse me, it's on Tubi.
On Tubi, of course. Okay. So
Yeah,
free
it's on
TV.
Yeah, free TV. It's on there. Hopefully we don't get a strike violation for that. Then I'm gonna have to cut that whole thing out and continue the episode just from here. Because remember when you told me to check out episode 6? We actually got flagged for posting the TED Talk. So I know TMZ is about to hit us with some BS right now, and I'm gonna have to cut that whole part out. So forgive me for anybody who plays this back. You might just start it out from here.
See, but I'm glad you checked that out, Aki, because I just wanted to make sure, because you know what I'm saying, it was, that's why I have it live on my phone now. So I'm like, as we're doing this, I can see it live on YouTube or whatever our audience is being able to see as well. So it makes it easier for me to know back and forth if we good or not. Which really quick before we get into this Diddy thing, I was seeing that I seen this interview with Cameron. Cameron said that's how they started their podcast. He said, let me be professional with it. Let me invest in this podcasting thing, be all professional, do everything, all professional background and whatnot, and then dress in his suit, but then talk like as if, I'm saying, I'm in a barbershop. And that's what makes his company on point with that, because it makes it like he invested all of the money he needed, the time he needed, and things like that. Like, here it is, we invested our time, but look at how much we invested it compared to $200,000 that we don't have. We have a few thousands that we have enough for ourselves, so we got what we got. But he built the whole studio and made it and did that and made that whole thing up, and you know what I'm saying, and boom, the success in that, you know what I mean? So here he is, here he is doing our podcasting thing. So I just want to point that out in there. That's something that we gonna harp on later on.
Oh yeah, definitely. As time goes on, we're gonna definitely evolve.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you see the conversations that we have behind the scenes, whenever we have moments to catch each other. Right now, I'm going down for the ones that are tuned in, I'm going down the rabbit hole, so to speak, researching on how to drive more traffic to the podcast by applying the podcast onto some websites and blogs that receive a lot of viewership. I'm going that route. And then today I just showed Aki, for us to get our thumbnail game up, you know what I mean? And repurpose all the content that we have from previous seasons. And you saw how simple, but yet it's I'm hoping it's going to be effective.
It'll be effective, Aki. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it. I've seen a video. Now that you mentioned it, I've watched a video on that probably some time ago. I've never applied it, but just got information on it and seen that. And what you did right there, I feel like it's going to be a good start for us and us getting spread out there. Now, as far as on this Diddy, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy Combs, it's very interesting that of all people, Diddy, he has these things going on against him and has these things going on now. I didn't watch that documentary yet. I definitely want to check it out more because it seemed very interesting. Just as interesting as the R. Kelly one. Because that one was interesting. But hey, man, I mean, I have my opinion about it. I it's like, from what I've seen and heard, it's hard to say what is true and what isn't, but just me being a person and just watching from the outside, it's hard to say if that is, if those actions are really his or not. I mean, because in a reality sense, I wouldn't put it past him, because I've seen, I mean, Making the Band showed how far someone is willing to go for this mogul man, you know what I mean? For him, they went and walked to go get cheesecake 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And for him to be a person that allowed that, just to say, if you're really trying to do this, you're trying to be on Bad Boy, you would do this, that type of character doesn't seem too far-fetched for what the allegations are being said against him now.
It seems like a stroke of someone who feels that he's in a position of power to be able to utilize and make others feel less of, you know what I mean? You know, and then control the narrative if things start to surface like that, and say, hey, that's not truly who I am, or if a video surfaces like it did with the Cassie case, he goes into full, hey, you know, I was in, you know, my demons got the best of me, so to speak, so that way people can have empathy for him.
Right, and again, I wasn't there. I can't speak to say if that's real or not, or what happened or not. But how it's playing out and what we are watching here on the outside, those of us on the outside looking in, it's going to be hard to try to have to look past that is one of his behaviors. Now, me personally, I don't know Diddy, and if I ever did get an opportunity to meet him, I would never judge him for the stuff that he's done. You know what I'm saying? I just know how to maneuver around him now, how to operate within his presence, or when me and him are in the same, I would know how to operate and maneuver, you know, and be the same if somebody, you know, understood some things about me. When you don't know a person's truth, you don't truly know a person, you don't know how to really, you know, maneuver around them until you get to know them. And then you know, so your protection is you maneuver how you see fit for yourself. So
definitely,
you know what I'm saying? But with that going on, man, like, I was shocked to see that they rated both LA home and Miami home.
And the thing about that, Aki, is like, agents don't go in unless they've piled up enough evidence.
Right, because they're going in to go to specific things. Like, they're going to go find these specific things.
Right. So the nature of the way they went about it, obviously, from outside looking in, it looked, you know, like if they were taking down somebody from a cartel.
Man, I mean, he's a mogul, you know,
right?
I mean? Like, if you think about it, a lot of the people who are in positions like that, who can be called moguls, are technically another term cartels. Like, he's his own cartel, his bad boy cartel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy, because the thing about him is, even if it wasn't specifically Diddy, like, let's just say some of the things that they were saying that it was specifically him. It's like one thing that I learned about the face of something is that it's the face of, so that gets the more shamed at it. So Diddy being the face of that, it could be people from out of his camp that were doing some of these things, or, you know, had to do some of these things, and because they were inside of his camp, it's easier to blame the name than to blame you know what I'm saying, to blame one direct person. You know what I'm saying? Because then if you blame just the one independent person, you can get rid of them, they can go out, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to take down somebody, or get you know, really bring that awareness and blow it up, you take after the face of whoever, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. And in this case, Diddy, it's Diddy and himself. So, and his whole little entourage, but it's mainly him. Like, the allegations, everything is just him as an individual. And that's what's making it very tough for those of us on the outside looking in to try to not be on his side. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it's like, you are, you know, someone who we seen do this and this and this and that, but your name has been thrown into different things. And so now that these things are starting to come back up again, these are old rumors we've heard back in the day, but now that your name is starting to be mentioned again and again, and now we have people speaking out on it, it's kind of hard to influence my opinion again on, you know, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, and the thing with the Cassie case is that if it wasn't, before that video surfaced,
mm-hmm.
you know, if it wasn't true, right, him denying, hey, I never did that to Cassie, then why settle? Why settle for and pay her off if it wasn't true? You know what I mean? So there must have been some significant evidence during the case that he wasn't willing to go through, full trial,
right.
Deal with that heat, so to speak, or potentially go to jail. So we're just gonna settle and pay her off.
That's what, and you can, so you can't get mad at, you can't be upset that the world would think something like that either, because it's just like, hey, well, if you're saying it wasn't, she's saying it was, then she goes to court, she files the lawsuit against you and the companies or whatever assets you have, and the best thing you could do in order to how do you call it, salvage your name, you pay her off, and y'all settle things, and you settle it. And usually when somebody wants to settle something, when it comes down to the courts and orders, is they want to hurry up so they can get rid of that situation, can be done and over with, and they can move past it, get along, and it don't have to come up again. But if somebody really wanted to seek justice, it wouldn't have just settled there. It would have gone until what they were actually wanting to happen. Like, if the whole objective is for Diddy to be behind bars, things would have went and got further, because this is still going on Cassie and her accepting this settlement. Correct. See, there, you know what I'm saying? There's one thing for Diddy to send out and say, let's settle this here and there, boom, boom, boom. But then there's another thing for the person to accept the settlement as well. So that means that they, for some, on her end, she felt it was necessary to accept that settlement and be good with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think it was obviously wanted for Diddy to go to jail. I mean, if you want, you wouldn't have never settled. You would have took the trial out. But then again, you got to remember what you're dealing with, because I've heard rumors that, if she would have pushed it to that limit or tried to go to that far without taking that settlement, then there was potential threatening or danger for her and her family. You know what I'm saying? And when you're dealing with someone of his stature and his status, those are potential things, which we all seen in movies. That usually happens. You know what I mean? That usually happens. So it's definitely an eye opener what this situation is when it comes down to hip hop and what has happened in hip hop.
I agree. Barb says here that Diddy has a lot going on. 65 says, think about the charges, and what if his crew was his scapegoats? Kind of like the Shine situation. Remember, Shine took the fall for him during the shooting, and then years later, recently, a video came up of Shine saying, hey, I actually didn't do it, which still leaves the question, who did? Because Shine wasn't willing to say it. And that's why I respect Shine so much. And I don't know if it's because of his political acumen, you know what I mean? Because he's now pursuing politics.
And I think he's over somebody. He's in a position now where he got some power. Yeah, I think it's in Haiti or something like that. But yeah,
right. So I respect him because he says, "Hey, I didn't do it," but he chose not to say who did.
I mean, because for him, I feel like he took that, but for him to go that long too, he was taken care of. For him to take,
that's what.
They took real good care of him.
They had to, because nobody's gonna do 10 years. On some, hey, I'm just gonna do 10 years. Somebody had that with him and be like, yo,
look, I'm gonna hold this on my record and on my account just so it doesn't ruin you. But in the end, if I do this for me, you need to, do this for you. You got to do something for me. That's the only way that
makes sense.
Yeah, and you can't.
And there's no proof to that either, though. As well, none of that has ever been said, whether he was taken care of or not.
You wouldn't want it to be that way.
Right.
It's like only the inner circle, the inner workings, and people who know what's about to. That's the only people who need to know. But as far as on us on the outside, we can only leave it up to our imaginations of suggestions.
Right. And when you look at it, it's like
common sense says.
Common sense tells you he got away with it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. There's times where stuff happens, and there's certain people who call the shot, and then they're able to get away with it. I mean, I mean, honestly, that's one of those things where, you know, they speak about those in different things. They got goons for that. You know what I mean? They pay people off for that. You know, there's people who they pay off to do certain things. But when it comes down to Diddy, man, like I said, I feel like as good as he was as a music mogul and things like that, when you in that position of power, sometimes you can lose it, man. I feel like a lot of these guys get in those positions and have those type of rants or do certain type of things is because they get lost in their own sauce, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They get lost in that sauce and they forget what's going on and what's happening, because you've like when like I was stating earlier, with great power comes great responsibility. Like that's a cliche statement.
It's a great statement.
But it's I mean, come on now. Like, if you really pay attention to what it says, with great power, meaning that you have power now, and you don't have just regular power, you have great power because you have great influence. That's what power is influence, right? So with great influence comes great responsibility. So now you have an ability to respond to things at a great or greater a way of doing it. You know what I mean? And so because some people get lost in the sauce sometimes and forget that, hey, you know, I can't go too far. I can't do this, or, you know, they have anger issues or things that they don't know how to control their emotions. Well, sometimes, you know, things get a little too way hectic. And then the one thing you realize is now you realize you're in the situation. So you either have to go with it on all the way through, or you figure another way out. You know what I mean?
I also think it's one of those things where it's like, once you're in that position of power and you get away constantly with all these things that could potentially lead you to jail, right? And you get away with it every single time. It's like, oh, I won't get caught. You know what I mean? And once those things start piling up like that, you start thinking that you're untouchable until something transpires, like, you know, it piles up on you 10, 15, 20 years later even, and everything just starts crashing down.
And that can happen. That can happen, as we see. That's what's happening. You know, Diddy been in the game. He been in the game. Yeah, man. I barely was like 6 or 7 years old when I first heard about Diddy. You know what I mean? Not even now. I probably was like 5. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 35, about to be 35 in a few weeks. That's 30 years, man. Yeah, 3 decades of being in this entertainment industry and seen and being known around and traveling around, you know what I'm saying? And being able to get away with minor things, people recognizing who you are and just giving you stuff, people willing to do certain things just because of your name and they know who you are and what they're trying to get from you. You know, it would definitely get you there. I mean, I've had a run in with you know what I'm saying, with the famous people in Hidden Hills. And a lot of times what happens is you can tell some of them, they're so into their world or so much stuck into what they got going on that they forget that when they're dealing with regular people who are not them, but have jobs and stuff to do. Yeah, we may recognize you and understand your celebrity status, but if my job is for me to be a security and protect assets, whether you is Mr. The president himself, or you just a celebrity that the whole the continent and country knows, I still have to do my job correctly. You know what I mean? So you still have to
follow rules, regulations, and
everything. It's you should be willing. You should be willing to do what is necessary in the proper procedure, especially when you're paying for this service. That be the thing that be getting me. You know what I'm saying? So some people forget that they're paying for a special convenience, and they forget that, you know, that they're dealing with other people who this is how they live, this is how they eat. So you're paying for them to have their family and their life and stuff like that, but still treating them because like the lower level peasant, and, you know, not caring about them having to do that and just being happy at, oh, you just be lucky I'm giving you crumbs type of attitude. And that attitude never works out, because that's how come you can find yourself 20 years later getting shit put on you from 20 years ago, and now everything's starting to make sense, and now everybody's starting to look at you in this specific manner, because it's like you tried to portray something that you know who you were for a long time, and you showed us who you were, and now you showed us who you truly are. You know, I mean,
and that happens with social media. Do you think that there's a chance that he'll be prosecuted and sentenced? Like, and that, or that it may just be something where it's like evidence is very, you know, it's not as crucial as the media is putting it, and he may again slip away.
I feel like Diddy, the worst thing that can happen for Diddy is for him to get jail time. But the best thing that's going to happen for him and for him to, so his name and his, what he has going on and his children's reputation and all that stuff don't get too crazy, and they're gonna put him on probation, bro. They're gonna give him a long ass probation,
house arrest, maybe.
They're going to give him on house arrest and probation, bro. He's not gonna be able to leave the country anymore without them knowing. He's not gonna be able to leave his house without him knowing. The way he's gonna be able to make money, he has to do it all from home. Everybody in his house is gonna be monitored, and in those things. Like, and then again, I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you got money and you got your hands in people's pockets, and it's, you know, you can get away with a lot of stuff, bro. That's especially here in America. America is the place where you have enough money to pay somebody off. It make your things go away.
So much for a justice system.
There's no justice here.
So much for a justice system.
The best justice you get is you holding justice in your hands. And that's just honestly speaking, like, that's just because at the end of the day, you know, there are things set up for people, and it just depends on, again, your level of how much money you got, bro. Like, if you got money, or you have influence and power to make use, you can scratch somebody's back that can scratch yours. This is gonna happen, and that's what I feel out here. Like I said, the best thing.
It's a good point that you mentioned that, Aki, because it almost makes me feel that this whole entire time he may have just been paying people off in this circle that he's had to do these quote unquote things and keep everybody on a hush payroll. And then once everybody feels like they're not getting enough or something, because that's another narrative. People are now coming to just get a quick payout because they're not seeing the kind of money that they were once seeing behind the scenes.
Oh, of course. And that's what make it tough. That's what make it tough right now, especially for people. It's like it's as bad as it is getting out here when it comes down to the finances and things like that. Yeah, don't do something and then think somebody's going to owe you. You know what I'm saying? You want a favor. That favor is going to cost way more than it would have costed any other time. It's going to cost way more now. Like, because when you want somebody to hush, when you literally do something and you want to give somebody hush money, you better be able to set them up to the point where they don't never ever have to come to you again.
Right.
That's the type of hush money
that you really need to throw at people, because people will just blackmail you
all day long. When the time is right,
like, you may not even know at that party they was secretly recording, boom, 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 catch a quick recording, and then utilize that over your head and be like, yo, I got this video. You need to throw me more money, something significant.
They do that, man. I feel like that's just that's something anybody with you know what I'm saying, malicious intent, or, you know what I'm saying, somebody who wants, they're gonna always do that. It's I mean, realistically, if you look at it now, if you have having leverage is like a thing, like it's a key major thing when you have leverage over somebody, because now you can, it's like the saying goes, it's like, now the ball is in your court. It's like, what you want to do now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've shown you this. I can ruin your career. I can ruin this. I can stain your name and all kind of other things like that. And so now it's like people are more worried about their reputation than a lie. So it's easier to, you know, blackmail somebody and get money from them, because it's another form of ransom. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know how they used to do when they show on movies, let's go kidnap this high profile person, set a ransom up, you know what I'm saying? And this is how we're going to get away with it. They're going to be able to give us the money because they don't want this person to get hurt. So, you know what I'm saying, they just give us the money and we be gone, and we can disappear. that's what's happening right now. You do something to somebody, they seen you do it, and now you have this thing where you have to either take them out or pay them off.
What I caught in the documentary was when they mentioned at his parties that preachers go there, politicians go there, people of influence, celebrities, certain celebrities, key celebrities. If you know what his parties consist of, what are politicians and preachers going over there to do?
Oh man, that's come on now. Everybody's heard about a Diddy party prior, even when he used to throw those back in the day. And the same thing with Jamie Foxx. They throw these certain type of parties. People know what goes on at those parties. I mean, a lot of times when you go into those parties, you don't just get to go to those parties. One, you got to be invited, and two, they have you sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. A lot of times they're taking your cell phones and your IDs, so they're making copies of this and keeping this stuff so they know who's at the party and who got what, who, and if this for the cell phone access, so people can't be sneaking and doing certain things. Like they don't want you. If the world really got video and seen what was going on in some of these parties that these celebrities, politicians, and things like that go off, they would look at them all a little bit different. You wouldn't have faith in a lot of these things these people that you have faith in. You would not have a lot of faith in them, because then you would be seeing how is it that you're a preacher, a man of God, you're telling me to do these certain aspects and follow these certain rules of God, and then yet you're in a whorehouse yourself. I'm not saying that's what Diddy's party is,
right? But we're just going based on
context.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you know Diddy has a party lifestyle that is very wild, a preacher shouldn't even be looking
entertaining the idea
at all. You get what I mean? Because then it goes against what you're preaching to the choir. And so, you know, it makes you really question. It makes you really question certain things. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I look at it as preachers, politicians, celebrities, whatever. If you are going or having fun and indulging yourself at these type of events and parties and stuff like that, where they're taking people's cell phones, they're taking people's IDs and stuff like that, and all of this is for insurance purposes and safety tips and safety, all of those things, then that's a very scary party to be at, just in my opinion, because now I have to keep my mouth shut about a party or something that I went to, when if I'm the party type of person, I would want to be telling all of my peoples to come to this party.
Yeah, because I was kind of blown away, Aki, when I found out that TD Jakes was in there shaking it up with other men.
Not me, Aki. Not me. I didn't surprise me. Yeah,
I'm gonna just go allegedly.
I'll put it to you like this.
TD Jakes.
I know the bishop.
I know. Crazy.
Hey man. Hey, look, and the thing about being a bishop too, man. I mean, you get, once you have that title underneath your name and it is registered in the states as that's who you are, bro. You live a tax-free life. Why do you need to be taxed? You're a preacher. You're giving out the word. The word. God's people never had tax. They never had to. They didn't have to pay taxes. They have to pay tithes.
While the people in there receiving the word of God are throwing out their little tips to give them to service His lifestyle.
You have a congregation and a bunch of people. You have 300 people giving you $100 every Sunday. How much money you think you're getting, bro? But you ain't gotta pay. You ain't gotta report it to the IRS. You ain't gotta do none of that. And then all preachers don't just own one church. They have a church, which is their nonprofit organization, even though they gain more profit because it's a nonprofit organization. And then they have businesses that they have as well. So now you have a conglomerate of funding and tax breaks and liens because of the corporations and because of the fact that you have a nonprofit organization which gets funded, get funded for different things, and it's, again, it's funny because it's nonprofit but it makes profit.
They find them loopholes,
right? You know what I mean? So like it don't shock me, but what I am chuckled about, and what tickles me a little bit, is the fact that because your response to it, knowing that it'd be a lot of people's responses. It'd be a lot of people's responses. Like, they find out Mr. The bishop who they watch on Sundays have maybe been to the church, because he be up in that church right there in LA on Coliseum in Crenshaw Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? Right there, there's a big old church that they built right there that they be filming in there. That's one of the big old places, and that's where TD Jakes been at a few times. Down the street from Leimert Park. So it's funny that that's the response that a lot of people would give. For me, again, it's not too much of a shocker to me. It's just, I just find it hilarious because to get that big and to be to portray one thing and do another, it can make people are getting tired of
it. I want to use J. Cole's false prophets. And how when you see individuals like that reach that certain status, right, and then portray themselves and represent themselves one way, and you find out that there's something total, full-blown opposite. It makes it difficult to trust the nature of this world and those you see. It's hard to it's almost like everybody has a mask,
right?
You know what I mean? And it's hard to peel off who's true and who's not,
but that's the nature of this world. See, the thing about people got to realize, see, when you I don't mean to be in that aspect, but what I'm saying, what I'm meaning, like, I know we're not all perfect in a sense of we can't make no mistakes. I'm gonna use that because everybody's perfect in their own way, but I know we're not perfect to the level that people are seeing of you don't make a mistake,
right?
And you saying you mean what you say and you do, right? So that's the thing that the natural world has, is because this world is so open to everything. You know what I'm saying? The perfect imperfections that, it makes us view that. It makes it hard to have trust for any and everybody, because you don't know if there's wearing a mask or not. When they present themselves to you, you don't know if you're getting the real them or you're getting the persona them, and then you got to dig in and wait a little bit more longer, and then now you'll get the true who they are. And we all have skeletons in our closet. We all have done things that we're not proud of. We all have did these things that may not look right in certain people's eyes, and sometimes you still have to look past that. Like, you can't. I ain't saying trust everybody again, but you have to trust when somebody shows you their nature. And a lot of times what happens is that just gives you the opportunity. You don't have to judge them. You don't have to be mad at them, or you don't have to be weird with them. You just have to know how to now operate and maneuver, or know that when a situation may come up, this is the response that you may get from this individual or this person. You get what I mean? Again, because we're here to learn, and it's a lot of times you don't know who you are all of the time unless you've made these done these dark ass things, because you have to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, to truly understand you, you got to know what your limit is on both sides, on both how far you're willing to go for you know what I'm saying?
How far you're willing to take,
and how far you willing to take it, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I heard a few people who like preaching the word say that, you know, the best church followers or the people who believe in God the most are a lot of times are addicts. People who have been addicted to other things. He said those are the best. And when he said it, it made me go, well, from the notion of being an addict, yeah, if you can be addicted to porn, you can be addicted to weed, you can be addicted to cigarettes, alcohol, whatever, then you can be addicted to the word of God. It's the same sense. It's the same thing. Right? You could be addicted to anything. Those are the people who are the best for that, right? So now you have this guy, this bishop teaching these things, and you have people who are addicted to learning the word of God and then are following him because of certain things he say, now looking at him in a totally different eye because they found out or they see that what he has been preaching, he has not been practicing. That's upsetting. That's where it gets hard. And so there was a video that came out about Diddy too the other day that they spoke to him in regards to a situation, and his response to it, you can kind of tell he didn't respond like someone they think would usually respond to one of those allegations about being you know what I'm saying, something about sex trafficking or something. I can't remember exactly, and I don't want to misquote it, but his response to it, you can kind of tell like it angered him, it triggered him, because it may have been one that, you know, he's done something to that nature or whatnot. But in his response, you can tell he was trying to be empathetic towards the persons who did the thing, and, you know, and why it was happening. It's like, in a sense, trying to justify the actions that were exemplified there. And usually what happens if somebody is just trying to justify or something like that, it may not be justifiable, but just in the sense of, you have to think, okay, well, if this person is thinking it from this perspective and manner, then maybe there's something else that stems or is rooted behind why they would view it from this perspective, which, again, like I said before, we're not all perfect. We have our imperfections, but that's what makes us perfect. That's how I see perfect, as I may not be perfect to you, but I'm perfect for me, because whatever is imperfect about me, I'm in the process of perfecting it. You get what I mean? So it's this whole thing with when it comes down to Diddy, I don't want to see the worst thing happen to him, but I definitely do hope that the correct justice is served, or the truth is come out about what really transpired and what's going on. Because
for me, Aki, with the truth coming out, I would hope that whatever consequences occur from his actions, whatever punishment he gets, I pray he learns from it.
Yeah. And everyone learns from it,
right?
Because
there's a lot of victims,
There's a lot of victims. There's a lot of people involved. That's why it's so shocking and mind blowing, because if you look like what they were saying in the video, so many people attached to the situation. They said they went,
and nobody even wants to talk about right now. The DJ Khaled's, you know, all his close supporters, other, you know, music execs, nobody wants to say anything. Nobody's defending it. Nobody's saying anything. I mean, some are defending, like, you know, what's that guy's name? That was just talking on the TMZ. Forgot his name, the producer.
What is it?
Forgot his name.
I forgot his name too. I know
he did it, Faith, right? The producer, whatever his name is. But you know, you got some that are willing to defend his name and his honor, but for the most part, nobody wants to even associate with the case. They're quiet, like if they've never been to those parties, they've never seen the things that they're saying he's done.
That's because, man, like, because
they don't want to fall with them.
because a lot of people, it was just as like the Epstein list, and you notice how that one was thrown up there when Donald Trump whole thing thrown up, and then all of a sudden you ain't hear about that list no more. You ain't hear about who's in that list, who's on it, and nothing like that. And then all of a sudden you hear about, oh, all of the charges been dropped with Weinstein and all of this. Like he got away with it.
And what makes me realize too, Aki, is like, no matter how much success you have, the minute you are being ridiculed or, you know, about to lose it all, nobody's there, bro. Nobody's there. You gotta handle that all by yourself and deal with that all by yourself. Now, it's obvious. I'm sure that his immediate family's there.
Of course, they are. I feel bad because whether they knew it or not, I just feel bad because as a family now, it looks ugly.
Right, because they have to deal with all that because they're in the public.
People they're gonna question
amplified even more.
Yeah, and it's because the children, and it makes it hard for them because when you have children like that, especially the two twin girls, I feel bad for them.
Those are the youngest, right?
They're the youngest ones, then they're barely about to be out of high school. I believe they just had a prom or something like that, right? But I feel it for them because now, one, that's your pops, that's your father, the man you see. So you've seen him in his dark days, what he's shown his family. You've seen him in his light days, what he have shown you. And to hear certain things and be certain things, like for people to talk about your father, it will make you feel some type of way. It will make you feel, because it's like y'all only focusing on the bad stuff. Y'all forgetting about all the good stuff and what type of person he is, what he's done for this and this and this and that, right? So they immediately get on a defensive mode because of that, because that they have an attachment to this man. So I feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's an ugly situation because of how big it got and what the name is. I guess that's the one thing about being at that status and level is, when you're going to be at that status and level, man, you gotta tread real light because stuff can come back out. Now, it's scary at that level because now you have people who are falsely alleging that you did these things, and then you have situations where you've done some dirt, but you paid the people off to not say it, hoping it don't come back out no more. And then when it comes back out now you have to deal with it in a different situation. So there's this situation with Diddy is I believe he's paid people off, and now it's making it worse because those people who are now been quiet to be paid off, now they're going to be affected because now he's not going to have money to be able to keep them paid and hushed. So then they're going to also come back. They're going to be able to start speaking up now so they can start getting more money to be covered for them. The children might end up, being coerced to say certain things, or they might be able to tell the truth themselves. And we get down to the bottom of it. But I just truly believe Diddy, his name may be looked at is very bad. But himself, the person, the body figure, I don't see him going behind bars, bro. I don't see us getting a real mug shot from Diddy.
Interesting. We're gonna take a quick intermission, and when we come back, we're gonna speak about the beef between Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, the top MC talk, and then we'll also get into some things that me and Aki spoke about behind the scenes in regards to how to sustain, your music career in other ways. You know what I mean? There's other routes you can take in the industry to kind of supplement and create a form of income that most artists are not really aware of. And I think if they choose to go this route, they can create a source of income that can help their career essentially and take them to other heights. So we'll be this quick intermission, Aki. It's going to be about the music industry and the private prisons that set up hip hop artists and listeners for profit.
Hey, Diddy was part of that too. That's one of those, man. See, damn, Diddy.
See, we're gonna have to talk about that. I didn't even know that. I mean, that's crazy, Diddy lining up his pockets. Here we go.
That's why he ain't gonna have jail time, man.
Switch to Chrome to load your favorite sites fast, so you can browse with ease.
What he said, like Oga said.
Ever wonder why you see the same stereotypes of black and brown people depicted in hip-hop music? What if I told you that some of the biggest music companies are in cahoots with private prison owners, and that the rap music we listen to is not only meant to entertain, but to verbally and visually support criminal behaviors that funnel disenfranchised people into these private prisons? Lastly, what if I told you I have proof? In 2012, CoreCivic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, the biggest name in the private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One requirement of eligibility for the deal was particularly strange: an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract. Wait, right? What? What kind of legal and ethical measures could be taken to ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate? Now let's work together to connect these things, because I'm sure you're a smart person. It won't be long. Let's do the work. In 2012, a mere 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans, controlling all avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and spark any trend. Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, can not only sign an artist, but since they're also owners of Entertainment Weekly, they can also put an artist on the cover by next week. You think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization, it's starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in CoreCivic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the #1 largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the US. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons, the exact same people. They make money from getting so-and-so from the hood to glorify the life they live, and they don't care about the impact it has on others because money is the motive. Then when the music influences others in criminal behavior, they make money from all the impressionable low-income people of color that are expected to go inside their private prisons. You can research these companies yourself, by the way. It's not hidden. Now, if you want to take action and stop motivated racist schemes like this from happening, we need to create a platform where the real culture of hip-hop can flourish. Hip Hop for Change has employed hundreds of people with jobs that further hip-hop activism in the Bay Area and are ready for expansion. They teach K-12 workshops that get children rapping, breaking, DJing, and doing graffiti as a means of positive, healthy self-expression. Amazingly, half of the 20,000 youth they've taught were for free. They don't turn down kids. They produce social justice events and support local artists who don't fit the corporate narrative. You can even listen to them every Sunday on Hip Hop for Change Radio on 89.5 KPOO San Francisco. They're using hip hop to advocate social justice and raise funds for causes that enrich the lives of historically oppressed communities. They want to create a platform where the community can access the authentic culture of hip hop. Don't only share the video, but make a difference and reach out to them. If you're in the Bay Area and you need a job, it got you. If you don't want to be on the front line with them, you can donate here. That donation is essential to keep their movement going. So help them take the game back and empower the community with the real culture of hip hop that is rooted in peace, love, unity, and having fun. Donate today on their website and visit them at hiphopforchange.org.
Oh, God, that brother said a mouthful. Hiphopforchange.org is the website. Salute for the information. And pertaining to the private prisons and the music industry, man, that's something that I think we can really dive in on. What was your thoughts on that, bro?
I think there's some truth, to that, to a lot of those claims there. And we always talked about that here on the podcast, saying if that will be the case, let's just say if that's the case, if the media companies, had stake in the private prisons, and you say, okay, maybe that's not a bad thing, but then you look at, okay, what are the media companies producing? You know what I mean? He's talking about BET, MTV, which I'm not too fond of any of those particular outlets, at this point. But when you talk about the labels, what we could go to, and we even seen Lyor Cohen, come out and say, on the Breakfast Club, the stuff that he said, and it would prove that what this young brother is saying, what his research is correct, in my opinion. But I'm gonna take this stance on it though, because I feel like now that we know, what are we going to do about it? All right, this is what we know now. So something. It's like, all right, the people, the army's coming, the Calgary's coming into town. Okay, so how do we stop them? So, we got to stand up though. Now that we know this, now you're going to have some people who are going to be victim to this. Absolutely. But now that we know, what are we going to do? So. But I definitely believe it, man. It could definitely be some truth to this, though. I don't put that past it at all.
Nah, and it makes sense when you look at private prisons and the capital that comes from private prisons and who's sitting up in private prisons right now and how it correlates to a lot of the hip hop that we hear. And you look at a lot of the artists that are sitting behind bars in trouble for hip hop. NBA Youngboy just got out of prison, or just got out of jail. I don't know if he's in prison, but he's on house arrest right now. Just dropped the album today. Salute to him. Kodak Black's currently sitting behind bars. TK47 is currently sitting, not TK. TK47 is currently sitting behind bars. Who else is in there? Bobby Smurda is currently sitting behind bars. And who's profiting off of that? While we see a 6ix9ine who just knocked down a whole gang organization, promoting a whole bunch of nonsense. Who's promoting? Who's benefiting off of that? A lot of this makes sense. And you talk about Lyor Cohen. I pulled up a little bit of an excerpt that he said. I'll play that real quick for the people if you haven't heard it, as it pertains to his artist and drug use and his place. He really doesn't give a damn, and it's proven. Here it is.
Particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
But being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now it seems like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
You don't think that's hypocritical though? You're saying
it's opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed.
An exec said,
"I know.
I got people to feed," and he used the excuse of supposedly the artist being talented. When a lot of these young artists ain't talking about absolutely nothing, let alone bringing substance.
It's easier. It's easier to talk about a struggle than it is to talk about success. Well, I'll say it's not easier to talk about it. It's easier to hear and enjoy someone's struggle than to enjoy someone's success. We talked about this on a prior, episode of Dropping Gems, so I ain't gonna go too far into that. But
prisons and media, the owners of media, the owners of prisons, tied up into the artistry of hip hop, the business of hip hop, the culture, and are wreaking the benefits on both sides. So they're signing artists to promote, gang violence, drug abuse, etc. And then after they utilize the artist to promote that, not only are they influencing a young generation or a generation to do the same, right, and act the same, but that particular artist may get locked up, you know, because they're still tied up into the streets, surrounded by, you know, criminals and things of that nature. And then once they get locked up, not only are they making money off of the artist while he's locked up, but they're also making money off that artist's music. That is scary, bro.
It's a wicked ass system. I know.
That's evil, bro.
It is because it's almost like you have now created your way of income. So what they did was set up their ability to get paid all the way around the board and benefit from.
Scary.
I know. Trust me. I know that was because, excuse me, knowing that, you know, saying it makes it scary and messed up because you're sitting there looking at it like, okay, so here it is, us as artists, we're providing therapeutical, you know, harmonic things that helps us feel better or become, you know what I'm saying, feel better about our situation or help us, remember what situations we coming from. For the media, the outlet to that's going to outlet it to everyone around the world to take it and view it, be enthused as it, enjoy it, but then turn around to the point where they've enjoyed it so much that they believed it, to the point where now they're going out to listening to it and also following those actions that someone here just didn't say that they would do so or would want to, but this is what they had to do. So now they take in, and once that person does that and that person commits that felony, now they're able to lock them up. So they're going to get paid on the artist. They're going to get paid on the person who did the thing. They're going to get paid on the fact that the government is going to pay just to make sure that the prison has enough room, food, and storage for them persons to be up in there. But then everybody else around the board, you know, is everybody else's that's influenced by it is going to be, you know, giving them more money. Giving, you know, just tapping into it. So now the artist now has gone to jail for promoting music to put people in jail. Now you think about it like this: when they did that, that was back in the 80s when NWA came out, and NWA was they've said it numerous of times as, you know, that they were invited to one of those talks and was told this is what's going to happen.
In the 80s, so this has been calculated for decades. The minute they saw the potential, and if this was in the 80s before hip hop blew up in the 90s, then this structure, they saw the potential in what hip hop was going to be, and they wanted to find a system, structure a system in a way where they can profit at the highest levels, but also put people in a situation that they didn't even foresee as artists.
I'll put it to you like this: if you think about it, most of the artists that they sign that do very, very well, or that becomes the biggest, don't they have the like worst messed up type of story or something like that? Like they have the worst of the worst, right?
I'm also thinking about this, Aki. Some of the artists that they sign now, on top of their backstory, are like talentless as well. Like there's a lack of talent when it comes to the artists that they're signing. So not only are their backgrounds and their upbringings are probably, horrific. I don't even want to say horrific because you don't know the severity of some of these people upbringings, but just they're difficult, of these particular artists. Let's just say they had a difficult upbringing. And then you think of them not truly being talented. It's like, what is the agenda? We see the agenda, but like, they want to dumb down the masses. They want to dumb down the consumer, and they want to promote sexuality, drugs, streets, criminality.
I mean, because you think about it like this, man, and this is like with this Drake and Kendrick situation with their beef. Yeah, yes, Snoopy. They do use those situations to make more artists more appealing, and that's because that's the masses are appealed. We are what is appealing to us is someone's terror, someone's
Really?
torture, or someone's drama. If you have not noticed that, you are emotionally moved by someone's terror, torture, and drama that they have been through that's on their life. You don't really hear too much good people wanting to hear about someone's accolades and what they've got to, what the good things that they've happened. You like hearing the juicy stuff about what bad has happened, what situation has become the worst of the worst, because it helps you realize that you not in your situation is not always as bad as it is. So that is more appealing to you, because if we're all in a bad situation, but you have Timmy and Tom over here going through the worst situation than you may feel better about your situation and yourself. So then now, you can go ahead and be more intrigued into what happened and why they happened, so it don't happen to you.
I feel like that's a subconscious war.
It is. So, I mean, think about it like this.
Break it down.
If I want to take over the mass of everyone, how do I have enough controlling influence to influence everyone to believe the same thing?
Making them psychologically and making them feel like we're all in the same, even though, they may be quote unquote successful, but it makes the smaller person feel like, okay, they're going through some shit too. Everybody's going through it, so to speak. Which puts which puts the person who is quote unquote at the bottom of the totem pole feel like, oh, then my life isn't so bad after all. Which makes them not want to push for more. Also, as well, it keeps them comfortable.
Which is easier to keep people comfortable and for you to be more successful, because they are going to be comfortable with every situation, which makes it easier for them to go ahead and commit some type of crime for you to be put inside of the prison to be made money off of. It's diabolical, bro. It's diabolical.
Them type of levels those type of levels of evil, Aki,
I know, but see, we were just talking about this.
I'm glad we got that awareness to see it for what it really is,
man. It's if you didn't, man, unfortunately, that's how they get you. And you know what it is, what it's here. Like, the ironic thing about doing this and being on the internet and stuff like that, the internet is a very scary place to a person who doesn't understand it. Right. When you understand that everyone has access to this platform, then you have to realize what you're going to make yourself of on this place, if you're going to put yourself in this space, right? Because the world has it, everybody has a different view, but all in all, everybody from America has pretty much grew up the same way in a sense. And what I mean by that is, if they've had a structured curriculum of school that we have all attended in public school, where they teach you this is X, Y, and Z. They say if X plus Z equals Y, then that's what they want everyone to expect that went to that school. So when you have someone who did not go to that school come and say, no, X and Y are don't have any hold any value unless you give them value, to them, the masses gonna look at that like, what are you talking about? You don't make any sense. But to this person, it's like, no, all y'all don't make any sense because y'all can't see what I'm seeing. Y'all all looking at one thing, and I'm over here. I'm the one person looking at something totally different that my only two eyes can see, but 15 million other eyes can't. You know what I mean? Like that's how the role is. That's what makes it easier. So you play a psychological warfare with them, and that's what made it easy for hip hop to do that, was because we had sound, which sound manipulates and influences you in your vibration, because we all have vibrational pools, and you have visual effects. things that affect your vision to make you think or perceive something different. And now you have those two things which make up influence, because now it can influence you to make you do something or think about something totally against what you would normally think about or do. And that's what they did.
And I believe that, Aki, because when we were young, if you think about the stuff that we did when we were young, right? If we were consuming hip hop, let's just say, right, and we were watching these particular videos at a young age, and our brain is developing at this time. And you think about some of the actions that took place that we decided to do, consciously or subconsciously, like, just wanting to get into, drinking alcohol or smoking some trees or whatever the case may be. You got to think about, where did that come from? Because my mom, my parents hid it well. So I didn't visually see it through them. You know what I mean? I didn't even know my parents did it, if they did it, right? But I seen it from being influenced by what I was watching on television.
And back in the day, bro, what made it so easy to do that for the masses? When they blew up MTV and BET. When they made BET and MTV the most talked about television shows, especially BET for the Black entertainment television, and they showed everything that we were used to seeing and stuff. So, and now think about it, like, some of us witness our parents going through these situations. Some of our parents witnessed their parents going through things. They put these shows out on TV for us to watch and get an understanding of where we're coming from. So now innately and subconsciously in our mind, we thinking that these are certain things that we just naturally do because of who we are, where we come from. So it makes it easier for it to be passed down long, along the generations. And so to the point where now you don't feel like that something is wrong or bad. Now it makes sense to you.
Because I'll tell you what, as time went on and I started developing something else that made me feel like this is not who I truly am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not somebody who enjoys indulging in these activities. So why am I doing it? And then it took a while, obviously, because of everything that you're watching and you're consuming. It took a while to break those habits, and then you have to find new habits, something that's more productive, to eventually let go of all those things that are no longer serve you or no longer good for you.
Yeah.
Because you can fall victim to going back to it.
Always. You can relapse.
That's what you were so used to.
You can relapse. So you get used to, you get comfortable. It's like working at a job for 10 years. You've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years. You go do something else. You know what I'm saying? You get scared because now you're doing something that you're totally uncomfortable with doing and not familiar with. And yet you want to be comfortable. So now you go back to doing what you was comfortably used to.
And you can never progress and never move forward.
So now if you continue to keep hip hop in a state where everything is about being negative, promoting drama, promoting, negative things that has no real substance or that doesn't have a turning point of saying, hey, you can progress from here, then you're going to keep a people place in a mental state of mind that's going to continuously go inside of that cycle. And then now you're going to continuously feed and fund your prisons, which make you money. And then on top of that, now you make more money to make more prisons. So this is the easiest thing that they could do. You think about it. A lot of corporations are buying up properties and buying up apartment homes, apartment places, apartments, houses and stuff like that. It's nothing for them to start turning those things into prisons or what they call concentration camps, bro.
Wow. Okay.
You can turn that. You can easily turn an apartment, a living quarters, an apartment building that people are living in, that you have tenants and units and people that live in there, And you can turn it into a place where now you've blocked them all in. They can't come out. You control their water, their lights, their everything about any way of situation. And if they don't pay you what they want to pay you, now you can torture them. And because now they're on your private property, because you have just turned it private instead of public, now you have whatever access you can do to them. You can do whatever you want to them.
Wow.
And they can't see the thing about it's called peer pressure. Yes, peer pressure is a real thing. They will pressure you. Your peers will pressure you into doing something, or they will pressure you into being a way, because the society accepts it, and it makes it easier for you. You know what I'm saying, to be along with. It's the thing about it is misery loves company. So anytime wherever there's misery, company has to come and accompany that, because misery will do that. Just that thing, it will find someone to accompany it.
I also noticed something, that they're still pushing the agenda, but just in a different way. Reality TV, Love and Hip Hop.
I told you, Aki. I did not say we love drama.
Let's find another
drama.
Let's find another form of media. Let's find another piece of content.
Not only that, let's record these people fighting and beating each other's ass and threatening each other on tape. Let's record that. Let's record you say that. So then when something really happens,
right.
Oh no, but that was for TV. That wasn't real. Then how did this person pass away? How did this person die? You said you spoke it and it existed. Now it was brought into existence. It's crazy.
And then on top of that, they scripted in that way to draw in ratings, which essentially
that's why. Look, the thing with the Kendrick and Drake thing. Now think about it like this:
the top 3 MCs, or what they want to say, the big 3.
That's where Cardi B came from.
Yeah, she did. She did. And before we get into the top 3 MCs, real quick, Aki, and this is nothing against Cardi, because to me, Cardi B, there's still a level of talent there.
Yeah,
to a degree. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? She has a personality. See, Cardi B has a personality, so it makes it easy for her to do certain things. She may never had done music ever in her life, but because she has personality, you could take her personality and create something with it.
And create a brand with it to a degree. Yeah, Wells, thank you for being here, DJ. Thank you. And what I wanted to mention was, like, if somebody, if somebody from her background can make it, you know what I'm saying? Because I she came from the hood, she came from the Bronx, she came from the ghetto. She was in a strip club. What connected her personality to people, again, subconsciously, were people that were known to grow up in those same areas. You know what I mean? And she just had the ability to present it in a way where people can enjoy that consumption. Because it started on Instagram, and then from Instagram, Love and Hip Hop, and then from Love and Hip Hop, she used that check to invest into her music. And then that one
she made that one record, bro.
Which I think somebody else wrote. It
don't matter. It don't even matter.
Yeah, it don't even matter. Ghostwriter got paid.
She perfected the performance so well.
Oh no, that record was crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Background.
It's called Bodak Yellow. I think that was what it's called. Bodak. It was like, because what happened to me, I feel like when an artist has that one record that solidifies them, you can tell that record it's like their theme song. to their life.
Yeah.
Right? They make a theme song to their life. And so what happens is that makes, like, for her, that was her theme for her whole personality and lifestyle. That was her theme. That's why it hit the way it hit, because it sounded naturally like her. It don't matter whoever wrote it. Somebody can sit there and write a lot of things. You know, it's like ghostwriters or people who are really good at writing can write from other people's perspectives as if this person wrote it.
Right.
If they would have never told us Cardi B didn't write that, or somebody wrote that for her, we would think that that was all Cardi B, regardless of what type of, you know what I'm saying, thing we think she has, whether it's talent or not. The way it was written and scripted for her to have, it was very key, important. But you know that all of them is like, hip hop is that. I remember when hip hop first came about, you know, there's always been a big three. If you'd actually noticed in hip hop, there's
every era
there's always been big three, that the top three artists that just consistently are killing it in everything they do.
But this debate is a little different for me, Aki, and I only because I for the most part, Cole writes his music for the most part, because I've even seen on some of his projects there's other artists on certain records, you know, certain names or whatever, and I want to look at that more as a collaboration and less of somebody's writing Cole's lyrics.
Of course.
It's hard to see somebody write for Cole because of his unique style. Same thing with Kendrick. I can't really see people writing for Kendrick because Kendrick has such a unique style and approach to his records. How can somebody replicate that? You know what I'm saying? To write like that, you can't. You know. Now with Drake, we've heard the reference records, so that's why with that top three debate, I kind of bring him down below them.
Drake is always, to me, Aki, Drake has always been third seat.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Even though he's, you know, by far out of all three commercially successful and holds, you know,
look, it's because Aki, because you gotta really talk about.
I don't want to hear it.
Nah, it's because, come on now, like, to me, when it comes to hip hop and rapping, bro, Kendrick and Cole are that. Drake to me is a pop star. Like he makes great music and can rap. Yes, he can rap, but when it comes down to the way Kendrick and Cole, it's like I look
at them as MCs.
They are MCs. Drake is a pop star who's multi-talented in making music.
Right.
You get what I mean? When it comes to a style, Drake he don't have any really of his own.
But unique sound that stands out.
The only time he had his unique sound was in October's Very Own, in his beginning work project.
Wasn't he like taking artists that were relatively unknown but making a wave, kind of, that were independent, and was like stealing their swag, grabbing their sounds and making them hot because of his influence?
You have a actor, you have this person who is a paid actor acting as a rapper, and you don't have somebody who's known as a rapper, you know what I'm saying, acting like that. That's different. You can tell the difference. He's a very good actor. He's a very good role playing person. He knows how to play a role very well, to the point where it feels like this is naturally him. But in order for him to have become a rapper, he had to have been hanging around with some of them, had to known some of them, have to have been, into your statement, taking other people's styles or forms of their art form and expounding and making it bigger than what it is, because they didn't have the influence or things that he had. He had acting money that he could put behind his career, where you can go get you a vocal coach, you can go get you the best engineer, you can go get you the best producer, you can go get you all of these people who know how to work with you to make you a sound. Cole and Kendrick ain't have none of that. They're grinding from beginning, saying this is what I want. I'm not stopping until I get this, and I'm gonna work at this every day and doing this and practicing this, doing all of these things. You know what I'm saying? So you can see where it's different for them at. And I've always looked at that. I've always had the top 3 of this era from the early the 2010s basically up until now. 2010s now until when they all really came out. I always had Cole above Kendrick in just a way of rapping, because I feel like Kendrick he's like our Tupac. You get what I mean? Like that's who he mobilizes after is the Pac. So he's the person, like he raps, but he's more a storytelling rap, and it does it, you know what I'm saying? And he does it in a college style form. I'll say college style. J. Cole, you have this. J. Cole to me had always been the rapper, like you know why his favorite artist was Kanye West, because and just like mine too, Kanye West. They've been that artist where I can't rap about the street life like that because I ain't really in the street life, so I can rap about everything else in life. And that's a little bit more, to me, I feel like you're a little more skilled at that when you're able to rap about other things in life and use them in dope ass punchlines, and then have your ways of telling the story in different manners. So like they're all storytellers, but how they tell their stories is what separates them. And when it comes down to them being at the top, I feel like Drake he has commercial appeal than they do, which is why people will try to put him at number 1, is because he's easier on the eyes when it comes down to looking at things and being more marketable.
And with all due respect, he's light skinned.
I wasn't trying to say all of that, but I was saying all of that without saying all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know, because you know how they, you know, the way the game works. So
I mean, that industry made it to that point. I mean, I really,
yeah, they made it that way.
You look at it,
it's on the artist. I don't blame it on it. It's just the way they want to present. It's the way they want to present.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's because it's
that business side. The business side.
It just makes people feel more, you know, feel more comfortable, because you know what I'm saying, like to them, somebody who is dark skinned or has a darker complexion, you know, tends to shine a little different, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes it you can feel their power, you know, and that scares people because it can be intimidating, because that's all their confidence. Versus those of us who have that mixed blend, that very nice bronzy color, you know what I'm saying, or a bit, you know, lighter reflection color. It's easier on the eyes to see, because, you know, you can see more of everything. Like you can see all of our hair, wherever we have hair at, wherever there's dark places that need to be, you know, there's the contrast. You know what I mean? There's the contrast. So it's easier for people to look at people you can get, you know, that gives out better contrast into that. But also too, you know, because J. Cole, he's the same way. They have the same type of background. It just, I feel like for him, because he's the real rapper when it comes down to them, that's why he gets hated the way he is. Kendrick is a poet. He's not just a rapper, he's a poet. Poetry is definitely different from rap. It's a form of rap too, but it's definitely different because there's so many things that are indulged into it when it comes down to poetry, and you don't always have to rhyme.
I'll be honest though, Aki, the battle between him and Drake, I wasn't the back and forth, I wasn't impressed with on either side to a degree. You know what I mean? And I love me Kendrick, and I know it, and I guess it's because we know what Kendrick is capable of doing, and I just think he went light on it. You know what I'm saying?
Why not, bro?
Right. Just to spoon feed him real quick and see what.
I mean,
does.
come on, like Drake been pressing him. He been bubbling. Everybody's been hearing it. Kendrick just sitting there. He's sitting there like a mastermind and just sitting there like, Everybody's talking, they waiting for me, they waiting for me. All right, let me put together a few of these little records where it's gonna hit him. It's gonna hit him, but it ain't, it's just light work. He's light work to me. You know what I'm saying? This is why I haven't responded to him. Since y'all want me to respond so bad, let me respond real quick and do some real light work, real easy stuff, and boom, you know what I'm saying? But when it come down to this beef, man, I feel like it was very well strategically played on both ends.
It was needed, though.
That's why the
spar was needed. I think it ignited what hip hop used to be.
Now I'm glad you said that, Aki, because now think about it like this. In 2013, when Kendrick dropped his verse on Control, it did the exact same thing.
That was amazing.
It did the exact same thing. It sparked a new thing in hip hop of what, not even new, but just it put back people's eyes through the lens of what hip hop came at. You know what I mean? Like boom.
Have fun to spark.
So then 10 years later, he do it again, bro.
Yeah, I think from like you said, from a strategic standpoint, it's important to go the sparring route on records to not only ignite what hip hop once was back then, but it helps the brand for both sides. It just, it excites people. People want to hear it. It almost goes back to what we were saying. It's like the drama. It entices us.
It does. There's something about someone else's pain that intrigues us as human beings, bro. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But
both records blew up streaming wise. All records blew up streaming wise. So
Kendrick had 3 of his diss records on the top 100 Billboard chart.
The 3. The recent 3?
Euphoria, I think it was, Meet the Grams, and then Not Like Us. Or no, excuse me. It was Euphoria, Like That, with the original first one he did when he said F the big 3, this the big me, and then Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? Like his new the West Coast record that one's gonna stay at the top. They gave credit. They put it out to where people can now redo videos with that sound, and everybody can eat off of that.
Right.
That one ain't going like that one right there. Impact wise, you know what I mean? You got the whole world saying, say Jake, yeah, I heard you like them young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1. You have the whole world saying that, bro.
Oh man!
You have the whole world saying he's looking for a minor, and it's trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor, bro. You have the whole world saying that, bro.
That was a bar.
That's what makes it so crazy, because you have the whole world saying your entendre the way you did that.
Right.
Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor, which is the name of a scale in the chord system in the musical notes. You know what I'm saying? A scale, right. You have A scale, B scale, G scale. You know what I mean? You have the flats. Me being a producer, like everybody who understood that A minor, that's what made them go,
whoa. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because but then to speak with the bar before that, to use the pedo, thing, and then and put the bar, put that as a minor, it was very great work. So that's what I'm saying. Like he's a poet. Someone from poetry would know how to do that, or someone who's very good at the English language, learning the English language. When you learn the English language, it makes you a little bit more better to communicate, because now you can poetically speak with using similes, metaphors, allegories, and all these different type of forms of way of speaking, and you can say one thing and mean 5 different things, right? That's what separates him from Drake. And the reason why we got excited and loved for that one is because he was able to say certain things in a very fun way. And when you seen that Drake had to get put on the line for actually trying to rap and to say some things, it didn't hit as well as you would think it would hit. Like how
he couldn't even keep up with the amount of records that Kendrick was pushing out.
Yes, I feel like everybody was looking for what happened here in this situation was Kendrick gave Drake what Drake gave Meek.
Right. I can see that.
You get what I mean? Yeah, Biggie is like that too. Yeah, exactly, Wells. Exactly. Very poetic. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to see. Like I remember I wrote this verse for this girl and her this thing, and I didn't get put on the record, but I was in the studio while we were playing the music and stuff like that, and I just kept hearing this. Right, I kept hearing this, and I just started rapping in my head, and she was like, "What are you saying?" And she kind of forced me to have to write a verse for it. So when I wrote the verse for it, and then I recorded my verse, and everybody was listening to it, they listened to it, and you know what the response they gave me was, it was eclectic. And so I'm gonna go here too, just so we can stay, because this is how they look at Kendrick too. This is how they always look at people who can really write or put a story together. They can really, this is what they mean by this. Let's see, eclectic. This is what I was told my verse was. One who uses methods or approach that is composed of elements drawn from various sources. One who uses an electric method or approach. When Kendrick said Drake make music to pacify them, I make music to electrify. That's what he means. He has eclectic verses.
That ball is funny too.
It is. It is. You have people who write at that type of level where they've drawn so many things from different sources to put into a verse that when you hear it, it go, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's powerful because it's like you start to realize what they're saying the more and more and more and more and more and more and more you listening to it. You start to see where they've pulled all of these things from, right? That's the MC and the power that they have. And Drake, he can get there. He has that potential too. But I feel like because it's not naturally for him to rap, he won't ever have that ability to do so. You get what I mean? He won't because it wasn't necessary. It's like he was an actor and he wanted to play. He's playing somebody. These are people who when you have someone who wants to tell stories or talk about something and has something to say and says it with such passion and stuff like that, there's no amount of creativity you can give them that, you know what I'm saying, that you won't receive back from, because they've all been like, I'm getting very creative. You know what I'm saying? Like when I said, couldn't paint another woman because his picture too perfect, and 1,000 other words can explain how you earned it. Now, what does that say to you? Have you ever heard that term or that saying before?
Yeah, it takes 1,000. It's 1,000 words. A picture paints 1,000 words.
Couldn't paint another woman because his picture too perfect. With 1,000 other words could explain how you earned it. When you you know what I'm saying, you flipping words around like that, but make somebody go, oh, that's I can't see Drake doing something to that aesthetic by himself, at least.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I always had him at the bottom. I always had him at the bottom 3. But when it came down to this beef, that's how come he wasn't able to keep up with Kendrick in the way Kendrick was able to do that. Because then you have 616 in LA.
Right.
That just the title itself alone already had it's on that level because it has multiple meanings of everything that everybody debunked and found out. You know what I mean? Like, how do you be? You can't just rap with this guy, bro. You have to really, like, Drake thought he could just rap with Kendrick, and Kendrick proved to him, you can't just rap for me. All of my diss records to you all were on all various type of beats. That then none of them sound the same. So when it comes down to like a rap, like Kendrick beat him in the rap beef because of how he performed well in the battle. The war, Kendrick can't beat Drake at that war in hip hop right now because Drake has done too many things in hip hop for him to be solidified as a hip hop artist.
That's why they went back, and I like the bar that Kendrick said. And after this, I wanted to get into the sync licensing real quick, Aki.
Yep.
When Kendrick Lamar was like, "You're the Michael, but I'm the Prince."
Come on now.
You know, and that's it. You know, when you think about Michael and Prince, Michael Jackson and Prince, it was an argument, you know, at that era, you know.
Bro, they had real beef.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
It was on site with Prince and Michael, bro. And everybody felt some type of way because it was almost like they brought their beef to everybody else, and everybody else had to pick a side right then and there.
That was that right there. Like when I heard Kendrick do that, I was like, "Ooh, I know."
But he right,
know exactly
because he right.
You know.
But then, look, here's where it hit heavy at. Here's where it hit heavier though. See, he referenced that because, but see, this is how eclectic it is, electrifying is. Kendrick is a Gemini, just like Prince. Prince's birthday is in June sometime too. Prince was a Gemini. Kendrick's a Gemini.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. So, you know, it was so for him to make reference to that. So it goes deeper. You know what I'm saying? It goes deeper. And like I said, then what made it cold game, and we're gonna get into the sync licensing, is he used 616 as a record to diss against Drake. 616 being one of everybody's favorite artists' birthdays, Tupac's birthday, right?
What can you break down what people debunked on that for 616 real quick?
So 616 this year is Father's Day. So remember Drake trying to play him as his son. You know what I'm saying? His father.
So he's saying I
father you. You know what I mean? He got 616 as Father's Day. It's Tupac's birthday. You know what I'm saying? Tupac being one of the biggest artists in hip hop already. And then so then it's the day O.J. Simpson did what he did, allegedly, when he murdered off the
So he has a few references.
Right. You know, right. So I mean, and they even have Bible scriptures, bro. You can go look up at a Bible scripture for Corinthians 6:16 or something. It was something, they had something in there, bro.
That's crazy.
And you know, it made me trip out because, you know, that's my birthday too. So it's like I'm laughing at it, but I'm looking like, damn, these niggas is really like it's something about 616 that make it crazy, right? And I was just like, damn, that was cool. That's what made me go kind of like look and really follow. Because I mean, like I said, it's my birthday too at the same time. And then, you know, for me to be born on the same day as Tupac, one of the greatest to ever do it, you know what I mean, that of our generation that we know, you know, I always felt a space in hip hop because of that. You know what I mean? Not just because I like the music, but because, you know, there's a lot of people out here that's born on that same day and that may feel the same type of way. You know what I mean? But that's what made me look into it, was because it was just like, damn, I already know a few meanings, but damn, I didn't know about the OJ thing. I didn't know about that one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And when it comes to beefs, before we do the sync stuff, when it comes to beefs, I realized that sometimes certain records will come out and we gotta decipher whether or not they're truly the artist or somebody who is AIing a voiceover to their own lyrics, which help redirect traffic back to the actual original artist.
Yeah.
you know, that has nothing to do with the quote unquote mainstream artists. So can you give an example of what you heard recently from you know, whoever this artist was that created a record called Obliviated, added Kendrick Lamar's AI voice over it, which went viral, but somehow it linked. Did the link go back to the guy's page, the YouTube channel?
Yeah. So when you click on the link on the thing,
to listen to the quote unquote full record,
yeah. So
back to his page.
It do. I guess this guy's name is Hugo, HEWGOE, Hugo, and his song is called Obliviated. And right now it's going, and it's been out since February 15th of 2024.
February 15th of 2024, but then he utilized the vocals recently in June.
So what he did was there was this thing that came across YouTube that said new Kendrick Lamar diss, right? It was genius, bro. It was genius. Because the diss is still, we're still talking about it, right? So
that's crazy.
It's clickbait. Everybody, Kendrick dropped another diss. Oh, I gotta go listen to it. And the song is called Obliterated. So in everybody's mind, of course, that word, they're connecting it to what Kendrick did to Drake with the Not Like Us record.
Right.
Oh, he has a song. Now he's talking about what he did to Drake. Now let's see that, you know what I mean? So I clicked on it. I'm listening, and I'm listening. I'm like, ooh, this Kendrick, what the? It sound crazy. It sound hard. And the beat was knocking. Wow, right? I click on it, man. Heard the Kendrick one and was just like, oh, that's awesome. Let me click. I want to hear the real song. I typed the song in on YouTube, Obliterated by Kendrick Lamar. It even comes up in the search on YouTube. If you type Obliterated by Kendrick Lamar, it comes up. But when I got there, the artist whose song it is actually pops up, which again is the artist name, I believe, is Hugo, HEWGOE, and the song is called Obliviated. And right now it's got 100 and something thousand views to it. And I think on YouTube. And yesterday, or I think it was yesterday when I seen it, it had less. It only had about 40 to 50,000 views on it.
Oh, that's a way to gain traffic, boy. That's a way to gain some traffic.
When I listen to the record, I'm waiting for Kendrick's verse to come on because of the beat and everything sound good. And then I hear this guy raps the same thing that the Kendrick Lamar version I heard said, and that's what made me go, oh, this ain't Kendrick's song, this his song. Oh,
how do you feel about that, Aki? Do you think it's a move that artists should consider just to awareness?
You know what? I'm not mad at it. Because you know why? I would expect AI to do that. You get what I mean? As artificial, intelligence, I feel like as a tool, that was the perfect way to use it.
Right.
Because I feel like now to answer your question, Aki, in regards to should artists do that, I want to say yes and no.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I want to say yes and no, because now imagine him doing that, and now we heard the record, and the record was very trash. Like it wasn't a good record at all.
Right.
It would end his career quicker than it began it.
Right.
You get what I mean? So I don't encourage all artists to. I feel like though, if you know you got one of those hot records, right? That when you got people who ain't biased, not in your circle, not on your team, to tell you, hey, nah, this one I like, this one goes up. If you didn't submitted a record into 4 or 5 different music review channels and you've gotten the same response and it was a good response from all, then I say do something about that. And there goes the lane.
I'm gonna have to wait till Joyner Lucas gets into beef with somebody and then throw Joyner Lucas AI vocals on my Pressure record.
Hey, bro. Hey, cause man, it was genius.
That is genius, bro.
Because I was reading the comments and some of the people was like, I'm just here for the Kendrick verse. I'm just like,
Right.
they were it got me. So I know I'm not ashamed of it. I liked it. I was happy. I was like very pleased that I had got it. That was some great marketing right there. He marketed the fuck out of his song Obliviated by
And then
utilizing
and then when you send me the video, and I'm watching it, where did he get the visual of Kendrick? Was
from
that
another
AI?
video. No,
Oh,
that
from-
wasn't AI. That's a video. That's a video.
Oh,
That's
that's
one of Kendrick's
okay.
videos. Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Okay, because I thought that was AI generated too. I was about to be like, damn, he's on another level. 'Cause
No.
that looked like Kendrick.
Right. Nah, that was real Kendrick videos, but it was how he did it, man. It so many people was looking for that record, man. That's why, like I said, it's still going up. And then when you go back and look into some of the comments, some of the people was like, "Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie, this record pretty hard. I was here for Kendrick, but like this record pretty hard." And me as a music connoisseur,
he's gonna get some new fans.
he got traction and he got new people, you know, trying to figure out who he was and want to listen to his music like that. You know what I mean? It was amazing right there. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things right there when it comes down to hip hop and our hip hop lane, our hip hop genre, where we like to discuss and, you know, indulge in our own glories in there. I feel like that's how we should be able to, you know, communicate with each other a lot of times, man. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not against the beefs. I'm against the violence. I don't like violence. Now, I love if you can spar with somebody over a record and make it fun. You know, I'm all for that. Anything after that where it gets too serious and people actually getting hurt because they're emotionally moved by it and is really trying to, you know, do something, then you know what I'm saying, don't get into the rap beefs, man, because it's all sparring entertainment at the end of the day. Like I watch battles, you know what I'm saying? I watch these battles and
It should never spill over. It should never spill over into some blood.
Nah,
Keep it
nah.
entertaining, man. That's
And I
what it's
watch
meant.
I watch a lot of battles when it comes down to these battle rappers, man. And you could tell, you can look at a lot of them and tell a lot of them, they're very good at telling these things or putting together words, utilizing, you know what I'm saying, the certain content that they do. And it's a skill, but you know, they have fun with it. And a lot of time, a lot of them don't even really be on what they be rapping and how they be rapping about. They may have had glimpses of that in their life. They may have done something, but not to that. Like a lot of it be exaggerated. And I'd rather you exaggerate your story than to lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd rather you exaggerate, because you're not lying about the overall thing you've done. You're just more so exaggerating from what you have already did. You know what I mean? And it's okay to exaggerate that. I mean, if you're going to talk about, you know, you got a big bag, then of course, you know, to some of us, we want to know how big. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to say, you know, I got a bag bigger than a blimp, you know, you like, that's an exaggeration, but I like that. You know what I'm saying? Bag bigger than the blimp. That nigga, now I know that your money is, you got big money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, if you say stuff like that, you know, it's cool. You know, bag bigger than the blimp from all this, you know, chicken that I whip. But I don't know. I just coming off the head with something real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you mentioned to me a particular artist that you're aware of. I don't know if you said that you worked with her before, or you know of her, but that she's making a living off of, you know, selling jingles. You know what I mean? Records for commercials and television and video games.
I don't know personally someone like that, but I've been seeing around lately that and I've been seeing anything. I used to watch this show called The Jamie Foxx Show. And those of us in the 90s or the early 2000s who know about it, watch it. Well, in the show, I've noticed that's what happened. He was chasing his career for music and acting and stuff, and it wasn't going as well. It wasn't going that well. So what happened was he needed a job, and in order for him to still keep his passion and his willingness to really get to where he going, he took the job, because now he was getting paid. Instead of just writing songs for him or whatever you want, he got paid to write songs for corporations and for jingles. And when it comes down to it, that's where I kind of seen like, that's a great avenue that a lot of artists are not thinking about or considering, right? Because imagine you getting paid, or I do know an artist who's doing this now. Like, I don't know her, but I know of her. You're getting paid to write certain material for products to sell. So it's like, in a way, you're writing a song or a jingle, per se, as they call it, because it's not a long formatted 2-3 minute song. It's a 30-second quick little clip to gauge attention to, and to see if you can be influenced enough to purchase this item or whatnot. And when you think of jingles, if you don't know what a jingle is, it's just like ba da ba ba ba, I'm loving it. When you hear that, you know what that means, right? And the famous Pusha T is the one who came up with that, who penned that one, and my man eats forever for that.
Crazy.
Eats forever. As long as McDonald's is in business, that man is eating.
Smart.
Right? So in this show, and the homegirl, her name is Jay Star. She's doing sync. She's in a, I'm not sure what company it is or where, but I know she's locked in on a deal, partnership, probably more so, because I know she know about her stuff, because she's fully independent. She hasn't, that I know of, she hasn't been signed to anybody. But she is writing music for commercials, for video games, TVs. I have another homie named Lou Urias. Shout out to the homie Big Lou U. He the same thing. He showed me one time he got a check from ASCAP for writing for or getting his song synced, a quick little snippet of it. And it was pretty nice. It wasn't crazy, but it was one of those like, you got paid just because you did this, bro. He was like, yeah. I was just like, okay. Yeah. But I really didn't understand, and I didn't get more into it, because we at the time we were on some different things, and he's a little older than me, and I was still on the young end, so it just didn't, we didn't connect to that level, because if I would have definitely connected with him, I'd have probably been writing jingles and shit like that too, because it's like these companies are paying people to write these harmonic sequences that will attract people to purchase their product. You know what I mean? And so now if you're writing songs like for a video game, you can be talking about certain different things, but if it just got to hit right, you know what I'm saying? It got to fit. That's the next direction I feel like as an artist that I think that I'm going to be, putting my foot forward in when it comes down to that, because, there's so many things, there's so many ways to make music that at first I used to want to be the main person running on the stage, everybody know me as that, but look at what's happening to Diddy, the mogul. You know what I mean? You kind of got to be careful how you choose your paths.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so therefore I feel like for me, like I'm comfortable being behind the scenes and working and helping someone else be that. And and I feel like I get a lot more creative when able to take something understand just this mini little bitty thing about it and then write something, you know, spectacular from my point of view on it. You know what I mean? And sync licensing or writing songs for different commercials and video games and stuff like that, man, that's a very prominent business there. Even when you're making beats too can get you somewhere in there with that one.
And I wanna take from that real quick. I came across an interview from an independent artist, and this is what they mentioned. And you know, first thing you're gonna want to try to do is try to get editorial placements on Spotify, right? An editorial placement, in order to even be considered, you want to set the record that you're releasing anywhere between 3 to 6 months before the official date. So if we're in June and I was to submit a record to come out in September or October, right? And then once I upload it through my distribution, whether it's TuneCore or DistroKid, I set it 3 months from now to be released. Once it uploads to all stores, but once it's in the system, it's going to give you an option to submit to an editorial playlisting, right? If you do that every single time moving forward, whenever you're releasing a single, release it 3 to 6 months in advance and keep pitching your song until it gets on an editorial playlist. The minute one record gets on an editorial playlist, you have a higher chance and a higher opportunity of the next record potentially getting on an editorial playlist, because now you're already building a rapport with the editorials.
Mm-hmm.
What ends up happening is that your Spotify numbers start to uniquely take a progressive jump. So if you have only 5,000 streams, you might end up having down the line, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not potentially millions, depending on the quality of your music. Now, what I want to say from this is that once you start establishing those numbers and your catalog starts reaching a new demographic and a new audience, and people are saving your records, now what you could do is the next step is look into companies that are going to upfront you based on your catalog, but still you keep the rights to your masters. I'm going to give you an example. You're going to want to look at a company called Sound Royalties. Sound Royalties will go ahead, look into your catalog, but this is after you have already established those editorial playlists and your catalog is doing really well. It's got a lot of saves, it has a lot of Spotify listeners, et cetera, et cetera. Sound Royalties, the company is going to go ahead, they're going to review your catalog, and based on the potential of your catalog, they're going to give you an upfront bag of, let's just say, $50,000 for a year, $50,000 maybe for 2 or 3 years, right? Whatever it is that you got, whatever deal you structure out based on the potential of your catalog. And what they'll do is they'll upfront you that $50K, but on the back end, they'll just take 2% of royalty moving forward, 2%, and you still own your masters. You know what I'm saying? And now you have a $50K pillow to work with to utilize however you seek to utilize.
Which you should be utilizing and putting it right back to get into this editorial playlist to keep your numbers going.
Keep the numbers going, right. Because now you're only giving them a 2% on the back end for the next 3 years, and you still keep the masters and the ownership to all your music.
Man, see, that's
Sound royalties. All right. So editorial playlist, sound royalties, and then the next step, which I'm gonna put this list. I'll end up putting this list early this week when I edit the description. But on this list, we'll place it on the description. This is the top 46 sync licensing music libraries that I've already gave to the Unified Media Group. It says sync licensing is defined as the use of music and television, film advertisements, a virtual and augmented reality presentation, video games, YouTube videos, or any other media where music and moving images are used. Music supervisors are generally the key decision makers who look over all music related aspects of film, television, advertising, video games, etc., and are the contacts that would be great to establish relationships with. If you want to reach out to music supervisors, definitely check out LinkedIn. A great resource to find music supervisors on some of your favorite television series or films. They also have a free music supervisor directory in this particular link that I'm going to provide later. With over 325 music supervisors index, it'll help you get to know the key decision makers responsible for placing music in top media projects across the globe. I'm going to name off 10, and then we'll close out the show with some final words. The first company is called Alibi Music. Second one is called Airbit. Third one is called Selfie. Fourth is Jamindo Music. Fifth one is Marmoset. 6 is Artlist.io. 7 is Nightingale Music. 8 is Jingle Punks. 9 is RX Music. 10 is Directional Music. So not only are you getting a list of these sync licensing companies, but you're also going to get a directory for music supervisors as well. So definitely utilize that link when I have it placed in the description.
Yes, that Artlist.io one. That one's one.
Yeah, that one's a very large, reputable company that I see a lot of independent artists using. Unfortunately, I submitted, and I guess whatever I sent them wasn't quite what they were looking for. So I want to assume, based on the conversation that we had, Aki, that if we start creating music that are more geared towards commercials and video games, and have a very unique sound towards just catering towards just that, then that's when you want to submit to Artlist.io.
Man, see, thank you for sharing that, Aki. See, you went and
Yeah.
did that, and because that's why I haven't submitted anything yet, because I feel like I have a record. I mean, effort. I
You
feel
have
like
great records. You have great records.
you know what I mean, but I feel like too,
They want to listen to a specific sound that is meant for their pool.
Yeah.
And the system that they have structured. So if you make a jingle for a Christmas record, or a jingle for Valentine's Day, or a jingle for a summer vibe, whatever it is, just start thinking that way. I'm not going to say that if you don't submit to these other sync placements companies,
Right.
I say still send them your catalog, still do it. But if you start seeing that out of all 10 deny you for whatever reason, start making the assumption that, hey, I actually need to start creating records geared towards just commercial making, scenes for particular films, whatever the case may be. But that's not always the case. But just start thinking.
No. But that's a good information, because again, like I said, I have she's not a close friend. She's just someone that I've known and I've met through a friend. Who, that's J Star. I follow her on social media and stuff like that. So I've watched some of her things. That I just found that was pretty cool that she got set up in that light, in that manner. Yeah. She don't work. She don't have a 9-to-5. She does what she needs to do, but she writes records. So she gets to make the music that she wants. And she also makes music for these type of records. And a lot of times what happened is she'll make a record for herself, and it'll appeal to them, that it'll get placed on a show or, a commercial and stuff like that, because the record, not just from her own, wanting to hear herself, but also too because it has this impact and influence on it. So that's kind of what made me want to, look at it. I'm like, you know what, I might have to start looking into, when it come down to me writing, just being mindful of the masses and writing for, like, if this was being played at a mall, what would it sound like? If this was being played inside
create a separate folder just for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just create a separate folder just for that. Hey, I'm just going to focus on writing and creating records that have to do with, like, going to the mall, headed to the movie theater, listening to on my way to work, watching this particular film, watching this sportswear commercial, playing this particular video game like Fortnite. What am I listening to? We have to start processing things that way if that's the route we're gonna go.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. That's definitely what
and don't stop doing what you do outside of that. Still create records that you enjoy for just your listeners and just for the sake of who you are as an artist. Because
Right.
I'll tell you what ends up happening is like after you get those sync placements, people are gonna go back into your catalog and
Yeah.
want to hear your other stuff, the stuff
And
that's dear to you.
But see, and then here's the thing about that is what I do know and what makes sense to me is that when it comes to the sync licensing or people who in these syncing companies, once you've built that relationship with them, like you've made records and they've chosen your record, whatever. When you start making record and they hear your other music and they'll be inspired to use your other music for new film ventures that they could potentially have. So what end up happening is that you're making your music for yourself and what you like and the people who's already your core audience from what you have. And then now they'll be placing those in, or they'll be placing them in pools for others music supervisors to listen and take to. Hey, I got this new horror film coming out. Oh yeah, hey, what about the music? Have you thought about the music? Oh well, I got this one artist who did this really dark song, but I feel I want you to take a listen to it. It might work out for your record. I mean, it might work out for your film. And now this person, now they go and they listen to it, and boom, now all of a sudden now you got connected with this person because you created, just a regular artist, regular song, but it was fit enough for a movie.
Yeah. When I was young, first starting out, maybe like 5 years in, I got an opportunity to create 5 rock alternative hip hop records for independent film. You know what I mean? And it was out of my element, but they thought that I had the ability to do so. And when I created the 5 records, I submitted it, and I believe they used like maybe 2 or 3 records out of the 5 at the time. It's been quite some time, but it gave me the confidence to go ahead and start thinking about down the line. Okay, this is a route that I can potentially go when I start figuring out the information. And that's when me and you started having those conversations behind the scenes. Okay, what to look out for, so to speak, in terms of like reputable companies and stuff like that. If there's one thing that you can provide, when it comes to just the state of hip hop, AI, the Diddy situation, just kind of putting it all together, what would be one piece of advice you would give an independent artist, Aki, in regards to the current state of it? Just one good piece of advice to look out for.
Stay authentic. Just stay true to yourself and your morals, and if you don't have any principles, morals, or ethics that's leading you now in life, find some to stick to and make them your ground, your foundation, and use your foundation, to maneuver through this life and through this industry. Because at the end of the day, I heard something. It's cool when you have friends, in places, and friends in high places. That's cool. But also too, just know that in these high places are a lot of wicked things happening because of how high they are getting, right? So you want to be mindful of your maneuvering out here and the friends you do have in certain places. But yeah, keep doing what you got to do. I mean, hip hop, I always feel like everything about hip hop and what we have made it to as a culture is going to always change, because it's just, there's so many elemental things and elements that get added to it based off of everybody who's in it. But hip hop is always going to remain with its original foundation, which is expression. At the end of the day, hip hop is a form of expression, and it's usually grounded and rooted in an expression from a struggle to now surviving the struggle and what happens after. So as long as we keep our eye on keeping hip hop to that, telling good stories about, going from one place to coming to another, just having good stories about that in events that have happened where, they can electrify us, then yeah, just keep that up, man, and always stay grounded to, again, your morals, your principles, your rules, and who you are as a person. Stay authentic to you.
Love that, man. Love that. This is Unified Media, Dropping Gems, Season 3, Episode 7, The Current State of Hip Hop. If for some reason you see this episode not come up, I'll be sure to go in there and remove whatever it is that flagged us, because I have a feeling when I started playing the doc, I have a feeling that they're gonna probably hit us with that. But it's always a pleasure tapping in with you. It's an absolute honor just to call you a brother and somebody that is beside me right now, beside each other, pushing this podcast forward, pushing this information forward. I look forward to definitely growing with you down the line and continuing to educate and inspire one another. You have amazing wisdom, you have a beautiful family, and you have a lot more to accomplish, not only in this space, but around us in its entirety. So I appreciate you.
Yes, we do. I appreciate you too.
Love and light. And I'll follow up with you midweek, King. Appreciate you. Stay blessed. Thank you, everybody who tapped in.
Appreciate y'all, man. It's Unified Media Dropping Gems podcast. We'll see you on the next one.